Hi guys! I guess we're live. Can you guys hear me and see me properly? Just want to make sure that everything's working. Hi everyone! Cool, where are y'all from? This is super exciting. I guess there's people from all over the world here. I can see all your comments here on my phone. I have it on the side. Cool. Alright, I guess we'll just get started. For those who doesn't know, well, my name is Sofie Sun, and I'm from Norway. I'm really excited to team up with Adobe for this little project. I get a lot of comments from followers on Instagram every day who wonder how I edit my pictures and yeah, how I work. So it's cool that I can show you guys now. In this session, I will show you how I edit my pictures in Photoshop and also a little bit Camera Raw, which is a part of Photoshop, and then Bridge, just to show how I organize my pictures a little bit. But before we get started, I just want to tell you quick how I ended up here. I started taking pictures probably in, I think, 2008. And I got to try my dad's camera, and I got hooked. It was fun. And I started using Instagram a few years later, and I was lucky to get to know a lot of people and get discovered. I got on Popular page, what it was called that back then. I don't really remember what it's called now. So I got a lot of followers. And through Instagram, I got a lot of photography jobs. So that's really cool. I think most of my photography jobs I've gotten through Instagram. So that's really cool. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. And I just want to let you guys know that Adobe is giving away a 12-month subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud. And I will be picking who wins. So you guys should just keep commenting and asking questions, because the person who I think has the best question will win this from Adobe. So that's really cool. So just ask me questions, and I'll try my best to answer most of them. So yeah, I guess I'll just start sharing my screen here. Let's go to Bridge first. I use this just to look at my pictures. Here I've made a folder with some pictures that I'm going to show you how I have edited and how I will edit it. And so yeah, I know probably a lot of you use Lightroom, but I've always been using Photoshop. I use a Lightroom a little bit, but I haven't been using it that long, so I don't know a lot about it yet, but I'm going to show you how I do it in Photoshop then. So here you can see the pictures I will be editing today. I have a before and after, just so you guys can see what the picture is going to look like when I'm done. I will be showing you 3 maybe 4. I got some picked out here. So I shoot in RAW. It gives me a lot more, well, it's easier to edit because you can bring out a lot more details. And you can use something, it's called Camera Raw, which is very great if you're using Photoshop because it's very similar to Lightroom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I edited this picture first. I'm just going to open it in Camera Raw. You can see it, this little button here. It's different ways to open it. So I just open it here, and here you can see the picture. And here are some different tools. This is very similar to Lightroom. We're not in Photoshop yet, but this is a feature that I use a lot before I continue editing in Photoshop. So what I'm going to do with this picture is, what I normally do first with a picture is that I go to lens corrections, and then just to fix, you can see that before I click this, it's kind of like dark around the whole picture. So you should take this off, but I kind of like it on this picture. I like that it's darker around here on the edges. So I'm just going to keep it that way, actually. And I'm just going to work a little bit on it. I usually just experiment with the picture and just see how I like it. Maybe make it a little darker, take the exposure down a little bit, and some contrasts, highlights, maybe down a little bit. I want this to be like kind of a dark picture, but I want, this is a picture of me, so I want me to be a little brighter just so I stick out a little bit more. So I'm just like doing the whites a little more and the highlights, and then take the shadows down a little bit. And since this picture is going to be black and white, I'm not going to work on the colors. I will be showing you more about the colors later. So I think I'm fine with this. You can see here before and after. So I think I'm happy with this. Maybe just put up the clarity a little bit. So yeah, I'll be showing you some more of these features here later when I edit some other pictures. I'm just trying to look at your comments there, trying my best to keep an eye on the comments while I do this. But yeah, so I guess I'm done here in Camera Raw. You can do so much in Camera Raw, it's crazy, but I'm just keeping it simple here right now. So I'm just going to open it in Photoshop, where I will keep editing. Just trying to answer some questions here. What do you prefer when editing photos, colors or black and white? It's very different. I really like colors. I think colors is my favorite. But black and white is great too. It just has this special feeling. It can add like a special feeling to the picture, and I love that. So I will be showing you how I edit this picture. I'm not a professional, so I have very basic editing. I don't do anything very like special. But what I would do first with this picture here is just go down to this little button down here. It's a round like circle with, it's half white and half black or gray. And I will just click on black and white. This just simply turns my picture black and white. And when I use Photoshop, I always work in layers. I love that I can just go back and change up something I've done if I don't like it. So yeah. And here you can kind of change how dark or light you want the colors to be. But I think I'm just going to keep it like this, and I will be working in something called curves instead. So yeah, this is what it looks like now. I'll go over to curves. I'll just go down to this button again and click curves. And what I usually do is just experiment with it and try to just see what works. So yeah, what I want to do with this picture is just make the background kind of darker and then me a little brighter. And yeah, I see I got a comment here that asked me why I didn't make this picture black and white and raw, because that's something you can do too. You can convert it to grayscale in raw. But I like to just do it in Photoshop. This is what I've always done. Before I didn't use Camera Raw, so I always just made my pictures black and white here in Photoshop. So I'm just kind of used to that, and I just keep doing that. But I sometimes do it in Camera Raw too if I want to. But this is just what I usually do, so I just decided to show you guys how I do this. I can show you later where you click to get black and white in Camera Raw. So now I have made some, there's some more contrast in the picture, as you can see. And what I also want to do is I kind of want to make me a little bit more like see more details. You can also just use curves to do that, but what I am going to do is choose the quick selection tool and just mark what part of the picture that I want to edit so that I don't edit the whole picture. I'm just doing it quick now. I'm not going to be very detailed, but something like this. And then I'm just going to go to curves and work on here. You can see that I'm just changing this part of the picture. So I want to just make it a little darker, but still keep, I usually just try to experiment with it and see how I like it, and then just, so this is you can do this in so many different ways. You can, this is how I do it, and I'm sure there's easier ways to do things and better ways, but yeah, this is how I do it. So what you should do is just zoom in and see like if it's good enough. Sometimes you can see there's lines, and then you can just click on this layer mask here next to what says curves, and then you can go to the brush here, and if you choose white, you can like mask this. This is kind of, it's the opacity was down here. So let's see how this is working. Yeah, it's not a big difference, so you couldn't really tell. So yeah, I think I like it like this. And then I kind of want the background like near me to be a little lighter so that the leaves and the flowers stick out a little bit more here. So I'm just going to go to this curve here, and I'm just again going to go to the brush, but then I'm going to pick the black here, change this to black, and then, or you can use gray. It depends on like how much you want it to kind of brush it away. So I'm kind of just using the brush on the areas that I want to be lighter. like this. Let's see. So kind of like this. I'm just taking it all off so you can see how it looks. What I'd probably do if I had more time is to maybe go in and bring out some more details here. Maybe use the one of these tools here just to like make it darker and lighter. Just to get out some more details. What I do is just duplicate the layer so that if I regret something, I can always delete that and still have the original picture. So I can sit for hours just editing tiny details. I usually don't edit like crazy edits. I like to keep things simple, and yeah, I just did this to show you guys that I kind of like just to bring out details. It's so many ways you can do that, but that's one of the ways I do it. It's just very simple. Yeah. So yeah, this is then the before picture and then after. Like I said, I could probably keep editing this for hours because I'm a perfectionist and I want things to look a specific way, but I just want to show you simple how I have edited. Well, most of my black and white pictures, I just keep it simple and I use curves a lot just to bring contrast and yeah, out like that, and the brightness. So I think it probably doesn't look exact same as the picture I showed earlier because I always edit in different ways. It's never the same, but I think this is how I would edit the picture. So yeah, I'm happy with this. So if you guys have any questions regarding this picture, I'll try to answer. I'll see if I can look at some comments here. It's kind of hard to edit and answer questions at the same time because I have to tell you guys what I'm doing. But let's see here. Yeah. I see you guys are wondering about what camera I use. I use a Nikon camera, D750. I use that for all my pictures that I post on my Instagram. I sometimes use my phone, but mostly it's Nikon that I use. And I use a 50mm lens. I think 98% of the time I use that. I really love using lenses that can make your background blurry. That I think most of my pictures have a blurry background. And I really like that. And yeah, I take a lot of self-portraits like you can see here. I have self-portrait pictures. It's fun to do self-portraits. It's very different from taking pictures of other people because there's a lot of things to think about. But at the same time, it's easier because you're just working with yourself. But when I take my self-portraits, I just use a tripod and also a remote so that I don't have to run back and forth to my camera all the time. And yeah, I take less self-portraits now than I used to do. That's mainly because I don't really have that much time because I'm studying photography actually at my school right now here in Trondheim in Norway. And we get a lot of tasks, so I had to focus on that. And I have less time for my own projects. So yeah. I hope I'll try my best. I'm looking at the comments here now to see if there's any comments that I should answer right now. When I edit my pictures, I sometimes edit both in black and white and in colors because I want to see if what works best for the picture. But yeah, I think I have most colored pictures in black and white, but I've been very into black and white lately. So yeah, I think that I'm just going to start on this next picture. Yeah, this is a picture that I took in a studio of my friend for a school project. And here you can see before and after. I like to work with colors and bring out the colors in my photography. That's something I think is very important, but still keep the colors kind of like they look real, especially like skin tones and hair color. That's something that I really think about when I edit. So here I'm just going to open it in Camera Raw again. So here we have the picture. It's not edited, I haven't done anything. So it's very dark and I want the picture to be lighter and I want the colors to pop and be very bright. The first thing I'm going to do is go to lens correction and it wasn't a very big difference here, but it corrects it a little bit. And I'm just going to experiment with it, make it a little brighter, work with contrast. I'm just doing the basic things here right now. Just see what works. So I'm just playing around with it, and I don't do too much in Camera Raw, but I do like the basic editing, like exposure and contrast and white balance. See here, if I click white balance and just auto, it looks weird. So I'm just going to keep it as shot, and I can just kind of change it up here if I want to. So you can see what I've done so far. Just make it a little brighter and a little more contrast. And then you can also work in curves here in Camera Raw. You can sharpen up your picture. You can do noise reduction, which is something that I might try on this picture. It's kind of, see how this works. I never really used this feature before. I guess it kind of works. It makes the picture look cleaner. You can just zoom in and see how it looks. Makes it a little, yeah, I think it looks okay. I'll just do it a little bit to see, get out some of the noise here, and yeah. Okay, and we might go over to HSL here. This is where you can convert to grayscale. You can make the picture black and white here in Photoshop or in Camera Raw instead of Photoshop. But I'm working in colors now, so I'm just going to show you a little bit how you can edit colors. You can change up the colors completely here. What I'm going to do is just bring out the orange here. I'm not going to make it too orange. because when I do it here, you can see that the colors change the background, but it also changes, well, everything that is orange in this picture will change, and I don't want that. I'm just going to do it a little bit, and I'm going to work more on this in Photoshop. Maybe make it a little brighter here, luminance. But this is, if you do pictures with a lot of colors and you want to bring out the colors in your picture, it's great to use tools like this. You can change up the colors completely if you want to. So yeah, I think this is what I want to do. Now I'm just going to show you some other tools here that you can use. With another tool that is cool is the graduate filter. This is something like, I think all of these tools are in Lightroom too. I haven't been experimenting enough with Lightroom, but I'm pretty sure that almost all these tools you can find in Lightroom. So if you have Lightroom, you should just try to see if you can find these tools too. And you guys should, if you don't have Photoshop or Lightroom, you should try to get a free trial, and you can try it out and see if you like it. I love editing with Adobe's programs, so yeah. I'll just show you how it looks before and after. So I'm just doing something just basic here, and I'll do the rest in Photoshop. But I think I'm fine. I was about to show you this little feature here. It's very smart. If you have a picture of a sky or something, oh, I have to make a little adjustment here. You can do this. You can use it in any type of picture, but I've used it mostly in pictures where I have a sky that I want to make darker or something like that. So that's a cool feature. I use it now and then. I just thought I'd show you because I'm not going to go back to Camera Raw when I'm done with this picture. I'm just looking here at the questions quick. I'll see if there's anything that about this. Are there any questions about Camera Raw that you guys have? I am not an expert when it comes to Camera Raw. I've used it a lot, but I just use like basic editing, like contrast and highlights, and then lens correction and a little bit like curves to edit my picture. Just seeing comments here. How much time do you usually use editing a photo? It depends. Sometimes I can use hours, and other times I just do a quick edit because I don't really want to edit the picture a lot. I like to keep it just simple and just not over edit. So yeah, why don't you do all the edits in PS? Well, I just think when I started studying photography, they told us that Camera Raw is a great tool, and I've been using it before that, but I started using it more, and I just feel like it's an easy setup, and it's just everything here in the same window, and yeah, I like it. And I see here, do you open images from Camera Raw as object by shift or right click the open image? Yeah, what you can do is, you see open image here, when you click that, you go straight to Photoshop. If you hold in shift, I'm not using a Mac. I didn't tell you guys that, but you probably could see that I'm not using a Mac. So I'm not sure if it's the same buttons to click, but if you click shift, you can open as object, which means that you can, when you open it in Photoshop, you can go back to Camera Raw if you want to make any changes in Camera Raw. Because when you open it just as an image, you can't go back to Camera Raw. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. If you know that you might go back here to Camera Raw, then you should open it as an object. So that's smart. Okay, I'm just going to open this. So yeah, I'm trying to keep up with the questions here. It's so hard because I have it on my phone too, so I just have to like hold my phone, or I have it next to me. Wow. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, I'm just seeing a question here. When you edit in Camera Raw in Photoshop, is the editing non-destructive, or are you editing the original file? When you open it in Camera Raw and you just click done, then this edit will be just on the original picture, but you can remove it if you are in Bridge. You can just right click on the picture, and you can go on develop settings and just click Camera Raw defaults, and then you will just remove the edit. When you edit in Photoshop, you have to save it. And what you should do is click Save As, not Save, because then you will save the edit on the original file. But if you click Save As, you'll make a copy with the edit, and you keep the original file. So it's a little different than Lightroom, where you kind of like have a copy, I think. But yeah. Let's see. I'm sorry that I'm trying to answer your comments, but I can answer more comments later, maybe when I'm not editing. But I'll try to answer some now and then. So I got this picture here, and what I want to do is change up the colors a little bit. I want to make the orange background even more orange. I want it to pop and look bright and fresh. So a tool that I use a lot in Photoshop is the Selective color. I like to brighten up the colors and make them look more fresh, like I said. And in this case, I will be using red and yellow because the background is so orange. So what you can do is either you can mark, select, so you're just using the background. You can just do it on the whole picture, and then you can kind of like mask out the parts that you don't want to be edited. But I'll just start on red. So what you do when you can see that there's different, the different colors here, and you can see how the picture changes. There's other ways too, of course, in Photoshop to change up colors. There's, I think, hue and saturation is one, and color balance. But I've always used selective color, so that's what I'm used to. So I'm just going to bring out the red a little bit here, and I'm just going to make the orange pop a little bit. I'm just going to keep it like this maybe, and you can see that now I'm also changing the skin and the hair and the flowers here on the shirt, but I'm going to change that later. I'm just going to focus on the background right now and just see how that changes. See, I want it a little bit not so yellow, kind of like this maybe. So you can see here now, this is before and after. Yeah, I see, just looking at the comments here now. Do you use a tripod when you shoot, or do you do it handheld? I've kind of always done things handheld, but when I shoot in studio, I usually use a tripod. And of course, when I do self-portraits, I also use a tripod. So yeah, this is what I've done. I think I'm happy with this. What I'm going to do is just click on this mask here, and I'm going to go to the brush and have selected the black, and I'm just going to have it on 100 of opacity and just brush it here so that I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, and you see that the skin turned very orange because of the edit I did. I'm just showing you quick. I'm not like going in close, and because normally I would make sure that everything is perfect, but I'm just showing you quick now how I would do it. So now I can see that I changed up the background, made it brighter and a nicer color. It doesn't look dull like it kind of did here. And also what I want to do is, I think the skin looks a little too orange and red. So what I usually do, I also use selective color when I fix skin tone. You can also use hue and saturation too, but I just, like I said, I'm used to use selective color, and I love that. It's my way. So what I'm going to do is just do a quick selection here of the hair and the neck, and I'm going to go to the selective color, and here I'll also be using the same colors as I did on the background, yellow and red, just to kind of get more the natural color on the skin. It's kind of hard. It's hard to get the perfect color, of course. You have to work a lot with it and find what colors that you have to remove to make it look more realistic. When I edit, I usually use a mouse when I edit, not my pen tablet or like the pad or whatever on my laptop. But my mouse isn't working right now, so I have to use this instead. So I fixed the skin a little bit here now. I can zoom in so you guys can, oh, that was wrong. Having some trouble here sometimes with my Photoshop, but you can see here that I think it looks a little better. You can kind of tell here that the hair looks a little orange on the edges. That might also be because of when I was shooting. The background is so orange, and it makes it look a lot more orange than it is in real life. All right. Trying to look at the comments here again, see what I should answer. So many questions. There you go. I don't know if my phone is working properly, but we'll see if I'm getting the questions or not. So what I'm just going to do now is, I kind of like how it looks. There's a few things that I change up. You can see that the background there's some marks in the background here, probably from the background that I had in the studio, and that I'm going to fix. But first, I'm just going to select this shirt because I kind of want a little bit more contrast on here. Let's see. Just making a little selection. There's different ways to select a part of the picture, but I always just use quick selection tool. Oh, like that. And then I'm just going to use curves. I use curves a lot. I do. But I think it's simple and yeah, I like it. So I'm just going to make it a little more contrasty here. You can see how I think it looks a little better like that. This picture I've posted on my Instagram. So you have probably seen this edit before. I'm not editing this completely the same way, but I used a lot of time on this picture. I fixed a little bit on the colors on the shirt and stuff like that, but I'm just showing you kind of basic how I would edit this. So I'm just going to duplicate the background, and then I'm going to there's different ways. There's a spot healing brush, and there's a clone stamp tool and different ways like that. I'm just going to use this tool right here. And then I'm going to see there's some kind of line here that I'm just going to try to remove. Something like that. And then there's also a spot right here that I saw. And what I did to this picture was kind of like I evened out the background color a little bit. So I used the brush. I put it on color. You can use different modes here. I put it on color. And then I clicked like this. Like, what is that tool called again? It's this tool. I just hold in the Alt button and then click eyedropper tool to get the color of the background. Then I use the brush to just, I'll show you guys here. You can kind of like even out the color. This is something that takes a while because you have to probably mask out the background so that you can see that I will be drawing on the person. I don't want that. But I'm just showing you like a way to make the background look more even color, because when I took this picture, you can see it's a little bit more darker down here and lighter up here. So that's a way to do that. There's so many ways probably, but it's something I've used a little bit when I edit. And yeah. I see a question here. Someone's asking me why do you use curves and why I like it so much. It's just something that when I first started using Photoshop, is something that I just first learned to use. I just think it's a simple way to get out the contrast and fix like darker parts or lighter parts. So I just always used it. And I also see a question here, why do you not mask or select the person and then put the desired background in after? That's also a way to do it. You can use something like it's called select and mask, and you can mask out the person here and you can put in different backgrounds. This is something that I haven't done that much. We recently learned about this at my school. I haven't used it too much yet, so I don't feel very confident using it. So I usually just edit and then I mask out here, and I usually don't have pictures with backgrounds that are one color. I usually take pictures in nature. You probably see that on my Instagram. I usually work with nature backgrounds, which I will show you now. I'm gonna go over to my next picture. But yeah, this is how I kind of work with the colors. I use selective color, and I can go in here and work on changing the colors. Like you can see here now, I'm just using blue just to show you guys how you can change up the colors completely. If you want to, you can even change up the background. Like you can change the background color like completely with selective color. You can use other tools to do that too, but you can make it complete different color. Like now it looks more yellow. And yeah, you can do so many things with selective color, and that's what I love. I'm sure there's other ways that are probably better, or yeah, but this is something I've always done and I love it. So I just like keep doing that. I learned using Photoshop by myself. I've just been experimenting with it for years. So I'm self-taught, and yeah. Let's see if there's some questions here. I'm sorry about not answering all the questions all the time. It's I'm trying to see. Yeah, when I take pictures, I like I said, I usually take pictures in nature. So I kind of focus more on nature than probably the person in the nature sometimes. I live in Norway, so we have beautiful landscapes, and I really like to use that in my pictures, especially where my family lives. There's beautiful forests, and it's just magical. And when I take pictures, I try to think about composition. I have like a few, I know there's so many rules, and I don't really like to follow the rules, but I have some like rules for myself that I like to think about, like especially making sure that the horizon is straight, and kind of think about rule of thirds sometimes. Either place the person to the right in the picture or to the left, but I also like putting people in the middle of the picture. I do that a lot. It just gives this special feeling to the picture. I think it's kind of something that I've always done. Like you can see, probably, yeah, on most of these pictures, I actually have the person in the middle of the picture. That's something that it's just me, I guess. So yeah, when I take pictures outside, I just go outside and I look for locations. I usually don't have a plan. I just go out and explore. So yeah. I'm looking to see here. So I'm just going to move on to this next picture here. I have two pictures here. They're edited the same way almost. It's just a little different in colors. So I'm just going to open this picture here. Here you can see the before and after. It's very easy editing. This picture is not taken in RAW. This is a pretty old picture. It was before I started shooting in RAW. So this picture I will just be opening in Photoshop. So I'm just going to click open with Photoshop. So here we have the original picture. What I want to do with this picture is make it brighter, more contrast, and also bring out the colors a little bit. My editing is very simple. It's very basic, I feel like. So I'm just going to start with curves like I do most of the time. I think I work like always in curves. So I'm just going to bring out some contrast here, brighten it up like this. It does a lot to the picture. Just that little change here just makes the picture look way better, I think. This picture I took, there's some years ago. It's pretty much right outside my house, and it's in daytime in the winter. I usually like to shoot on a cloudy day. I like the light. It's fun to shoot in sunlight too, but it's can be very hard sometimes. So I like to shoot when it's cloudy outside, like this picture. So just that little change was, I think I made it a lot brighter. And then you can see that I think the hair color and a little bit my skin tone looks a little off. It's very like yellow, so that's something that I want to change up. And what I already showed you how I done this. I'm going to select just my face and my hair, and then a little bit on my back here. And I'm just going to, well, I probably don't even need to do it because it's the only part of the picture that is yellow. I'm just going to go to selective color and just change up the settings here a little bit. You can always just experiment because the colors are different in every picture, so you can't use the same settings every time. So yeah, I'm just trying to see how I like it. The colors on your computer might look different than my computer, so I hope it looks okay on your computers too. Yeah, I changed it up a little bit and made it less like reddish and more natural. I usually work a lot on this because it's hard to get the right colors, but I think it looks okay. So something else that I'd like to do with this picture is there's a lot of blue tones in the background. I like that. But what I like to do is just experiment with the colors. In selective color, that's what I use the most. It's curves and selective colors. So what I think that it looks good both without the blue and also with the blue. I think I'm going to keep the blue color in the background because it's like contrast to the warm colors in my hair. So this picture is just taken in natural lighting. I've not used any reflector or anything. I usually don't use a reflector or flash when I take pictures. I love to use natural lighting. I do that most of the time. Just, yeah, natural lighting. I like to keep my pictures just natural and fresh. So I'm just going back to selective color here. I'm just working on the blue in the picture. I think that I like it that it's cold because it's winter and I want to show it was really cold standing there at that moment. So yeah, I just want to like show that. So you can see now I edited this and then this is before. It's a big change, I think. This picture looks very the colors are very flat. It's not really much contrast in it. This picture is taken with, I think it's a Nikon D7000. That was the camera I used before I got my new one last year. So yeah, I think I am happy with this edit. What do you guys think? Is there anything that you would think would look better on this picture? I try to keep it simple, like I told you, so I don't do a lot of editing to each picture. I do like work on details, but I normally do very small changes. Also, something I do is there's something called actions. I think it's called presets too in like Lightroom that you can use. And I've made like, I have two that I use most of the time you can just apply it to your picture. This is like a black and white one with like a fade on it. I usually just use, you can see this when I remove these two here. This curve here, it's just a simple, kind of like the same that I did in the beginning. Yeah, this picture looks cool in black and white too, I think. There's so many pictures that work in both colors and black and white, and it's so hard to choose what edit that you like the most. But in this case, I like it in colors. I'm just looking at your comments here. Yeah, it looks good in black and white. I like fading the picture a little bit. I think it would look great in this one. Yeah, also something I do sometimes, it's like do a little fade on the picture like this. There's so many ways to do it. I don't do it a lot. You can put on like a color fill here and like, so that you just have to make sure that the black and white is on top of the color. And yeah, but I think this picture is done. I might look at the comments here now and see if there's anything I can answer. Yeah, so if I want to post this picture on Instagram, I normally use my Dropbox I put my pictures in Dropbox and I just pull it up on my phone and save it. I usually don't crop my pictures. Sometimes I like to crop my pictures like square. I think it looks really cool in a lot of pictures. Sometimes I crop in my pictures either to get something, if there's something like disturbing or like picture that I don't want there, like something in the corner that I don't like, I can crop it away or something like that. But I normally keep my pictures the way I took them. So when I've done editing the picture, I usually just click save as and save it. There's nothing, I don't do anything special there. I just save it, and then the pictures I save or edit, I usually put them on Instagram. Sometimes I resize them and make them smaller so they won't take up too much space, but I usually just keep them like the original size. I don't really know what settings you should use when you're saving for Instagram. I think maybe make the picture a little smaller just so it won't take up too much space, but I usually don't do that. I just keep it in the original size. So yeah, as you can see, my editing is very simple, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I could probably sit here and talk about my pictures forever, and how I edit. So yeah, I can go back here. I got a question. If I use actions, I showed you very quick. I'll just delete this here. I normally just, since my editing is very basic, I usually just do it on my own. I don't use actions, but I can show you two here that I use now and then. just to make, if I'm editing very quick, I just click on an action that I like and it just edits for me. This is an action. It doesn't really look that great on this picture, but I can just kind of work on different settings here to like see what kind of works with this picture. See if I can go back to, let's say, this one. See how this action works on this picture. So this action that I've saved here makes kind of like this like blue tone in the background or in the dark parts. So usually what I do is that I use an action and then I like work on it. I edit more. But I try to just edit without actions. But it's a great way if you're editing a lot of pictures with the same, that has the same light, same colors, then it's a great thing to use because you can just click on a button and then it edits for you instead of you having to click everything. So that's cool. But since I do very basic editing, so yeah, that's very simple. Do you only use Photoshop? I use Photoshop most of the time. I'm trying to learn how to use Lightroom more because Lightroom is super user-friendly and it's very much like the Camera Raw that I showed you guys. And so I want to learn more about that because it's also a great way to edit your pictures. Photoshop and Lightroom is just two very different. It's different at the same time as it's a lot the same things. It's just built different and they have different features. But I always use Photoshop, so I'm sticking to that. But I want to learn how to use Lightroom too. When it comes to organizing my pictures, I try my best to keep things organized. It's very hard when you take a lot of pictures. I don't have my hard drive in my computer right now, but what I usually do is when I take pictures one day, if I have one shoot, I have different folders. I have, let's say, a 2017 folder, and then in that folder I have all the different months. And then I would either name the folder with the pictures from that day, either the date or some kind of name that will describe the pictures or the shoot, the name of the shoot or something like that, so that I remember where these pictures are. So yeah, let's see here. I can go back to Photoshop and I'll look at your questions to see if there's anything you want me to show you. How did you learn to edit? In school or self-taught? I am self-taught when it comes to Photoshop. I learn more in school now, but I started school in the fall, so I haven't learned a lot. So everything that I show you guys, something that I've been just experimenting by myself. So I really want to learn more because there's so many features in Lightroom and Photoshop that I don't know about, and I just want to learn more. And I think I will in school. So yeah. See a question here. As a beginner in portrait photography, what's the most fundamental thing to keep in mind when taking pictures? Well, that's kind of a hard thing. It's like when you take self-portraits, it's different things to think about than just portraits. What is very important when you take portraits is to make sure that I think that the eyes are in focus. Maybe think about where you're placing the person in the picture. Like, I think that don't really follow rules. I think you should do your own thing and just experiment and find your own style and just do what you think looks good and what you like. That's what I do. I try not to like follow any rules, just kind of do my thing. So yeah, there's so many questions here that I want to answer. Okay, who inspires you? I don't have a specific like photographer or something that inspires me. I think there's just so many people that inspires me, not just photographers. There's family and friends, and there could be like literally anything inspires me. It could be like a movie or like a book that I've read or something, like just people around me or feelings and emotions. I use a lot like of my own feelings in my pictures. I like to kind of have like some specific feelings in my pictures, just kind of express what I'm feeling, but not necessarily want the person who's seeing the picture to feel exactly what I felt when taking that picture. People can kind of read it their own way. So mainly just what I want with my picture is to make people feel something when they see it. So yeah, let's see here on some other comments here. Do you spend much time on social media to... Well, the question just went away. There. Promote your... Do you spend much time on social media to promote your work? I usually just use Instagram. I post my pictures. I try to post every day and just keep it active. And yeah, I think I use mostly just Instagram. I also have a Facebook page, but I haven't used it in a while because I feel like I just need to focus on one platform, because it's just so much to do. I feel like I have to post and I have to write things and so on. So I usually just use Instagram. That's what I've always used. So I think Instagram is such a great platform to promote yourself and show pictures and also get to know people. I'm made so many friends on Instagram. I even met my boyfriend through Instagram. So I wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for Instagram. So that's kind of, yeah, that's cool. Do you always carry your camera? I don't always carry my camera. I wish I was better at it and trying to just have my camera on me all the time, because that's when you're just walking outside and you can just suddenly see something amazing or a great location and you just have to take a picture. But I always have my phone with me, so I'll take pictures with my phone all the time too, but I love using my camera. So yeah, what's your best advice to people who are new to photography? Like I said, just kind of do your own thing and find your style, and of course, look for inspiration. I think that's what I did. I just spent a lot of time looking at other people's photography, and when I was taking my pictures, it takes a while to kind of develop your own style and kind of find yourself, but it helps looking at other people's pictures and just look at pictures all the time, just every day, in books or online, Instagram or anything. You can learn just so much from just looking at pictures. And I've never really read about photography. I just look at pictures, and I think that's the best way to learn, and just experiment a lot. Just experiment all the time. experiment with editing, experiment with your camera, try things that you've never tried before, and you'll learn so much. So when you're a beginner, you should just, it's okay. You can read about it to kind of like get basics and then just like experiment after that. I see someone's asking me about how I set up the manual mode in portraits and how I focus. I always use the manual mode on my camera when I take pictures. Like the exposure and aperture and so on. I usually use autofocus because like when I take self-portraits, I use a remote that focus for me. So I never really use manual focus. Well, depends on how good the camera is, because some cameras, the focus isn't isn't perfect. But but if you're new to photography, you can always use the auto mode on your camera just to like begin with that, and then slowly work your way over to the manual mode. It can be very like tricky in the beginning, but you'll learn, and you can learn very fast. So yeah. Let's see here. I'm looking at the comments again. What remote do you use? I don't really remember the name of the remote I use. I know I just used one from Nikon. I think it's just a simple, very small one with just one button on it, and it's pretty cheap. I've had to buy it a couple of times because I've lost it, but it works very well. So I'm sure if you're looking for a remote, you should just go online and just search for a remote for your camera, because there's different remotes for different cameras, of course. Do you prefer shooting portraits in summer or winter? I love both. In winter, it's super cold, so that's like one thing that I don't like. But I think summer probably, or like kind of like spring maybe, when it's not too hot but not cold and it's green outside and the nature looks good. Like right now outside it's so gray and it doesn't look good outside, at least here in Norway. So I like summer, spring, and usually when it's a little cloudy, maybe a little sunny now and then, but I like it when it's cloudy. I think it's easier at that time of day when it's cloudy. Another question here: how do you edit for printing? Any tips? I haven't printed a lot of pictures. I love printing pictures because it's so cool seeing it on paper and not on your screen. We're learning more about it at school right now, so I can't really give much advice on it. All I know is when you're printing, you have to brighten up your picture before printing, because it tends to become a lot more darker when you print, and you have to sharpen up the picture too. But yeah, I honestly don't know enough about it yet, but I want to learn more because printing your pictures is really cool. And so let's see some other comments here. I'm trying my best to answer comments. There's so many. Okay. Do you ever shoot with a model? Do you have any tips on how to direct the model? The last 2 years, I've been shooting more pictures of other people instead of myself. It's very different. I think having to you have to communicate with the person you're taking pictures of at the same time as you are shooting. So I think it's it's very different from self-portraits, because when I'm taking pictures of myself, it's just me. I can just focus on myself, and I'm the one modeling, so, and taking the picture. So I'm the one who's like giving the feeling to the picture. And when I'm alone, it's just way easier to like do exactly what I want, and I don't have to worry about anything else. Um, but working with other people is so much fun. And of course, having different models in pictures, it can get like, when you take pictures of yourself, you have to come up with so many different type of pictures all the time, because it's the same person in the picture. So you have to like change it up a lot. But when there's different pictures and different people, it's a little easier to make or create like very different pictures. I think the person does a lot to the picture. So when I'm going to school now, I'm going to learn more about taking pictures of models and people that I don't know. So that's very new to me, because I've always been very into self-portraits. Um, so yeah, how do you prepare for a shoot? It depends on kind of what kind of picture I'm taking, if it's in studio, or if it's out in nature, if it's self-portrait, or if it's a portrait of someone else. When I take pictures of myself, I just go out and I just walk around until I find a perfect location. Um, that's how I've been working most of the time. So when I started school now, it's way different, and I had to prepare a lot more, find the location before the shoot, and find models and stuff like that. And when I'm working in the studio, um, there's a lot to think about there too. You have to set up the lights, find the right angle for the lights, and since it's just a blank background, there's nothing there, you have to bring everything into the picture. You have to find the right clothes for the person, and the different props and so on. So it's just very different. Um, just working in nature is so different than working in studio, and working with a model is way different than working with yourself. So, and people experience it different ways too. Some people like taking pictures of people and are comfortable with that, and someone are just not comfortable with taking pictures of people and likes to just work in nature or just different things and not people. So it really depends on how you feel and what you're comfortable with. My dream location to shoot, that would, oh, that's hard. There's so many countries that I want to go to and take pictures of. I really like taking pictures in nature, so just amazing mountains or forest or something like that is just amazing. I'm going to switch over to my and I'll try to answer. Do you think it's easier to shoot friends or strangers as models? Of course, it's easier to shoot friends because it's more comfortable. And yeah, it's easier to communicate and stuff like that. It's not awkward. And but shooting strangers can be very fun too. You can make friends, and you can learn a lot from it. When I started studying photography, I have had to do that a lot more. Shooting pictures of people that I don't know, and it's very, like, for me, it's very uncomfortable in the beginning, but it's also so much fun. So make sure that you don't always do what's comfortable. You should also try to do things that you haven't done before, and maybe it's sometimes a little uncomfortable, but it's worth it in the end. So yeah. Do you have a clear plan of your picture? What you want everything to look like when you're about to shoot, or are you changing your plan on the way when you're editing? I never really have a plan when I edit my pictures. I can open the picture in Photoshop and I look at it and I think, what could be better? And I usually just edit contrasts and light and colors because I want to keep my picture like kind of like it was, but just bring out the things that could be better. Like, yeah. Because sometimes when I take pictures, it always looks different on your camera than what it does when you have it on your computer. So it might look completely different from what you thought when you took the picture. So you always have to edit a little bit, at least, I think. But I try not to over edit. How long are you going to school? I am studying for 2 years. And then after that, I can try to take a bachelor or get a bachelor if I want to. But I'm just in my second semester, so I don't know yet what I want to do. Hopefully I get a photography job. I don't even know like where I want to go yet. With my photography, I want to work maybe for a magazine or something. So yeah, I just have to see what the future will bring. It's hard to just figure out where to go. So that's what I'm learning in school now, is kind of how to, like, learning how to know to do different types of photography so I don't get stuck in just one category, so that I can work on different types of projects and get different jobs. So yeah. Let's see here. There's so many questions popping up. I'm sorry if I don't see them all. Do you see yourself being a professional photographer when you are older? That's what I want. I want to have being a photographer when I get older. I want to work with that, and I want that to be my main job. Right now, it's both a hobby and also a job, but I don't have I have only like small jobs now and then. But yeah, that's what I want. I want to be a photographer. So, but we'll see what the future brings. I don't know yet. What do you love most about photography? I love that I can express myself. I love that I can use photography to show people like my feelings and emotions, and it's a great way to get anger out, or if I'm sad or something like that, just anything. I never really been good with writing, so photography has been my way to express myself. So that, I think that's my favorite thing about it. Is there any type of photography that you think is really difficult? There's many things that is difficult. I recently started taking pictures in studio, and that was very difficult in the beginning because there's so many things to think about. But it's also very fun to learn new things and try things that are difficult. Because that's how you learn. You have to do things that you think are difficult. So, but I don't really think there's anything specific that I think is very difficult. I haven't tried everything. I haven't tried all types of photography. I mainly focus on portraits and kind of lifestyle pictures. But I want to learn to do all types of photography. So yeah, thank you for all the comments. It's so nice to see that there's so many people here. It's great. Let's see. Have you done any film photography or cinematography? I do a little bit film photography. I don't do a lot of video. I don't make videos. We had one task at school where we had to make a short film, but I mainly focus on still photography, so yeah. But I want to learn to do different things. I don't want to be stuck on one thing. Like, I think film photography is really cool, and I wish I was better at it, but I think there's something that I have to work on and just experiment with. Just like I did with digital photography, I've just experimented a lot, and that's how I've gotten here. So yeah, I think that's the important thing. It's just having to experiment and just try things that you never tried before. It's so important. Yeah, I think we're about to end it soon. I'll try to answer a few more questions, and then you guys should just come with all your questions, and remember that I'm picking my favorite question, and that person will win a 12-month subscription, or subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud. Kind of lost my words there. So yeah, just come with all your questions, and there will be a lucky winner. And it's really cool that Adobe is giving away a free subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud. So there will be one lucky winner. If you don't have Lightroom or Photoshop, you can always get a free trial on their website, and you should really do that and just experiment with it and try things and then see if you like it. And yeah, I don't know what I'd do without Adobe. I used it a lot, all the time, every day. So it's been really cool that I've been teaming up with Adobe to do this live session, and I really hope that you guys have enjoyed it too, and that you've learned something from it. Yeah, maybe I'll do something like this another day, and you guys have so many questions. If there's something that you wonder or want to know, you can always go to my Instagram. You can send me messages, or you can send me email. You can find my email on my Instagram, and you can always ask me, and I'll try my very best to answer. I get so many questions every day, and it's just hard to keep up, but I'm really trying my best to answer your questions. I'm so sorry that I haven't answered that many questions tonight. It's really hard to answer questions while you're doing something and showing what you're doing, like when I was editing. So yeah, there's so many comments here. I guess I'll have to pick a winner. There's so many questions still. I want to answer them all. I don't know what to do. There's one question that I saw earlier that I really liked. It's kind of hard to find it again now. I have to go back to look at all of them. I can answer some more questions if you guys want. I have all night, and I'm not going to sit here a lot longer, but I can answer some more questions. I see someone asking me if I can answer on my blog, which I can do. I can always make like a Q&A on my blog or on Instagram. So you can always just ask me questions and I can like put them all together and answer them. I'm not the best at answering questions, I feel like. I'll try my best. What do you do to grow as a photographer? What's your next step? You just have to experiment. I've said it so many times, but you just have to experiment. And now that I'm going to school, I'll learn a lot more about different types of photography. And I think it's important to not get stuck at one place. You should know different types of photography, and maybe you have a favorite thing that you like to take pictures of, but if you're going to work as a photographer, you should know like different things, because maybe you get a job offer and it could be completely different than what you usually do. So yeah. How did you become famous on Instagram? I think it's a mix between kind of luck and I guess my pictures and people like them. I was lucky and I got to the discovery page a lot of times. My pictures ended up there and a lot of people saw it. And I also made a lot of friends that told other people about my photography. And so my Instagram was growing a lot for a little period. Now it's kind of like slowed down. I get new followers, but I also lose a lot of followers. I guess my photography has changed a little bit, or a lot, the last few years, which is a good thing, I think. I don't really think about it myself, but I guess I'm kind of finding myself more in my style. I know it's hard to like find your own style. It's really hard. I can't really explain like how you find your style. It's just you have to figure out what you like and look at other people's pictures and see what inspires you and use that in your own photography. And you'll grow a lot just experimenting with it and looking at other people's pictures. Not copying people's pictures, but just see what inspires you and just kind of bring that into your own photography. So, yeah. Do you see yourself doing photography workshops? That would be cool. I feel like I'm not professional. Sometimes I feel like an amateur. Like, I feel like there's so many people that are just so much better than me. But yeah, I don't know. It would be fun to do a workshop. Maybe sometime in the future. Will they do something like this again? I would do it again. If people are interested in this, like, it seems like because there's so many people that are still here watching me talk. So it would be fun doing something like this again in the future, definitely. It's something that I'd keep in mind. Have you enjoyed the experiences of doing this webinar? Yeah, I've never done anything like this before. I've gone live on Instagram a couple of times, but it's just so weird sitting here, seeing myself and talking to, like, I'm not talking to anyone. I am, but I can't hear the people I'm talking to. I can read your comments. So, yeah. But it's been very fun. Seeing so many people here. So yeah. How did Instagram change your life? I think it has changed my life a lot. It has made me the person I am today. It's kind of weird to say that social media has done that Instagram, an app, has changed me, but it has helped me grow with my photography and made so many friends. And my boyfriend I met there like 3 years ago. And I traveled so much because of Instagram. and gotten like job offers through it. So I don't even know what I would be doing today if it wasn't for Instagram, actually. Maybe I wouldn't even been that much into photography if it wasn't for Instagram. So yeah, I think Instagram has been a very important thing when it comes to my photography. So I'll definitely keep using it and keep posting my pictures there. And yeah, so I'm just looking at your comments here. I'm trying to read them. See, there's a good question here. What mindset do you have when walking onto a shoot? I'm always very nervous when I have a shoot that I've planned, especially when there's someone I am taking pictures of that I don't know, or like when it's school, like a task that I have at school. It's just so important to do good and get good pictures, and you only have like one time to do it. Sometimes, well, other times you could do it many times, but yeah, so I'm always super nervous, but I try to just focus on just doing what I always do, because it usually ends up okay. I just keep doing what I do and what I know, and sometimes you have a bad day and you don't get the pictures you want, and other times you get even better picture than that you expected. So it's just, I try to stay positive and just think that I can do this, and it usually turns out good. So yeah. Do films inspire your portraits? I think a little bit. It depends, because if I see a new movie, I might get an idea for a portrait or something like that. But usually there's a feeling or something like that that inspires me to go out and take a picture, especially when it comes to self-portraits. There's like so many ideas you can have, but you have to like figure out how to actually do it. Like, you have to plan so many things. But I like to just, I don't really like to plan. I've had to do that a lot now that I'm going to school. I have to plan the shoots a lot, and that's new to me. I usually just go out and take pictures of what I feel like whenever I feel like. So it's something that I have to learn. It's planning and everything like that. So yeah, photography is such a big part of my life, and it has made me who I am today, I think. Um, if I didn't have photography, I might be a totally different person, for sure. So yeah, it's fun to be able to create and express yourself. And the fact that it's my hobby, but it's something that I can work with, I can earn money from it. It's just such a great thing. Yeah, it's my dream job, be working with photography and traveling. I love traveling. So hopefully in the beginning, or in the future, I mean, I will be able to travel and do photography for a living. That would be really cool. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to pick the person who wins the 12-month subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud. And let's see. This is hard. There's so many good questions. Oh gosh. All right. Yeah. We're all winners tonight. Gosh. How am I going to pick, you guys? I don't know how to pick. There's so many good questions here, and okay. I'm sorry I'm keeping you guys waiting here. I'm just I wish I could pick you all. I can't pick you all. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, I just have to pick now. I'm looking at the comment or the questions here, and I just have to. I think I am going to pick one here, and should I just announce it? Do I just say the name to this person here? It's okay. The person I am picking here is Shannon with her question. Your pictures seem to have a certain level of intimacy and personality. Do you feel apprehensive when you put them online? So that's the winner. Shannon. Yay! I wish I could pick you all, but I can't. So, but there will be other live sessions, you guys, and you really have to watch them too. I'm excited to watch them as well. So yeah, just there will be another live session next week. So just make sure to follow along because there will be different type of editing because we all 5 have very different types of styles, and I know you'll learn a lot from the other people too. So yeah, this has been really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed. And you can always just email me or send me questions or anything on my Instagram. Or yeah, I will be trying to answer questions. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. This has been fun. All right. See you guys later.